Hi everyone, welcome to Otaku Saga. I'm DK.
I'm Rizzo.
And I'm Zero, and today in Anime Reaction, watch the first episode of Granblue Fantasy, the animation.
If you want to check out our reaction to the first episode of Granblue Fantasy, the animation, hit that link in the description below.
And be sure to give us feedback in the comment section, because we love hearing from you.
And as always, if you like what you see, subscribe to Otaku Saga, and don't forget to like and share our videos.
And thanks for watching.
So, on this episode of Granblue Fantasy, it's raining girls.
Hallelujah, it's raining girls.
This is definitely the only thing I could think at the beginning of that.
I am surprised you didn't say that. This is definitely a fantasy. It's a good start. Yeah, I mean, forget the fantastical spaceships. Forget the fantasy medieval kind of combat. No, the fact that women are falling out of the sky and not skydiving. Yeah, this is obviously a fantasy.
And not splatting on the ground.
Not splatting on the ground. More graceful descent, probably kind of like Galapagos Castle in the sky. Completely flying islands.
But
Ships, at least.
Yeah, so we open up with, what is it, Liria
and
Catalina trying to escape a battleship.
Which Catalina is a lieutenant in?
Yeah, well, Catalina is
now
former lieutenant in the Empire.
The also imaginatively named Imperial Army.
Yeah,
Imperial Knights.
Basically, she defects because she wants to save Liria,
who apparently is like magical torture / science subject.
Yeah,
I'd guess.
Not sure exactly what's going on there, but
from the clutches of evil Lord Tim Leary. He looks just like Tim Leary as Count Richelieu in Disney's The Three Musketeers. I just can't shake that comparison.
Right. But yeah, they end up escaping the ship because somehow Liria blows up a crystal that the captain guy is controlling her with.
Plot C4?
Plot C4.
Wondering why she didn't do that to the second one. Oh, right, because we need the main character to power up.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, so then we go over and we get a nice peaceful...
And apparently
a nice peaceful day with Gron
in his village, which looks like mini dioramas of Sydney, complete with seagulls and opera houses.
Those were pigeons and those were huts.
Details.
It certainly looked like that. But Gran is
chopping wood in full armor, I might add.
For training.
He
did say that.
He did. They did make an effort to explain it. It's not. He's not just a weirdo. Love you, bro.
I wouldn't know anybody else who would be doing this.
Think of it this way: if not for that, I would have tried to make like stereotypical Australian jokes, just to play on the Sydney gag. Be like, "Oh, I dive out. Give me a beer," and stuff like that, just throughout that whole scene. So you were spared that thanks to the fact that Gran wears his armor all the time. You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, there's weirdos in Australia too.
True.
Anyway, so yeah, he's chopping wood.
And such a man.
Yeah, we get a little bit of, I guess, world building as far as the village that he lives in goes. And then they see the battleship pass overhead, and they see the explosion, and they see something shining drop out of the ship, which is Liria, by the way, we were shown earlier in the episode. And so, naturally, Gran goes, I'll go check it out.
Yep.
Oh, fetch me a long sword. Never mind, I'll fetch it myself.
He doesn't need to because he was wearing it the whole time for training.
When he meets a knight, he can kill it.
He actually had the sword up on the wall.
But
he went and grabbed it.
Mm-hmm.
He had it with him the whole time.
So when he meets a knight, he can kill it.
Anyway.
I do that.
I know you do, but
it's nearby.
We're not talking about normal people here.
I love you, Zero. Be really honest. We do.
Be honest with yourself. So he goes walking through the forest. Oh yeah, did we mention that he has a pet dragon? I mean, companion dragon.
Pet mascot.
Yeah.
Who is either creepy or exasperated. And loves to fluctuate between the two. He's either like floating air, mouth agape, I'm coming to your house after school, or just like, really? I gotta follow this fucking idiot? Really? Get me my agent.
I think that they didn't make him move around enough.
Yeah.
So the only bit of movements that they had for him was bobbing up and down in the air.
Yeah, it's like a target at a fucking shooting gallery.
Yeah.
And his mouth moved a little bit.
Just to taunt you when you miss.
So there was definitely something weird there, and we definitely picked up on it during the reaction. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so him and his dragon friend go into the forest, and they do make another attempt as to why he wants to go look for whatever fell out of the battleship. Again, which is saying, hey, it could have been a flaming piece of debris that could catch the forest on fire. That would be a huge disaster.
And the
beautiful written dialogue.
The weirdo in me is, yeah, that's just the excuse. I would totally just run to a forest if I saw something fell into it.
That's an excuse.
Just out of mere curiosity.
Fair enough, but you're smart enough to at least have a good reason to go with it. If there is no good reason, craft a reason. That was a good reason.
Yeah.
So well done, writers.
But so he finds the place where Liria landed, and as it turns out, she's laying on the grass completely fine and not splattered all over the ground.
Not even so much as singed. Imagine that.
And she's lying so peacefully.
Oh man, the opportunity. I mean.
Anyway, so
Gran goes over and wakes him up. And then
her up.
Wait, yeah, Rick.
Just like a woman with a secret devil.
You fucked me up.
So he goes and wakes Liria up, and we get the little character introduction between the two of them, and then they get set on. Well, so they start walking, and they get set on by a couple of knights from the Empire.
Because damn, that ship lands fast.
Right.
And just like any intro battle in a RPG,
it's a Curbstone battle, basically. I also like how the guy who had the crossbow was just like standing there like an idiot.
Hey, it wasn't his turn to attack yet.
True, fair enough.
So bonus points for faithful adaptation of the source material.
The only problem that I have is the deflection of crossbows.
Deflection of arrows with swords is liberal in this episode, I gotta admit.
Well,
beautiful as it is.
Yeah, there's 2 points where it's used, and it's used egregiously both times. First time I can be like, oh, okay, maybe you got lucky.
Yeah.
The second time was with Catalina.
I could buy her more because she's an experienced knight.
I actually buy hers less because basically it's saying because of all the really overdone movements that she was doing. It's basically saying they were firing like. Okay, now you fired. Okay, now you fired. It wasn't like making a sweeping motion and like hitting like 5 out of the air at once.
Right.
The problem that I have with all the flare that happened, is the first arrow broke here.
In the little 2-on-1 battle with Gran?
Yes. Which means that arrow was nowhere near Gran, and he had no need to block it.
It's very true.
The second time that the arrow breaking occurs, the arrows were here, here, and here.
And also during that time,
she was protecting the people behind her.
That is true.
Well, in the first battle, weren't they behind to Gran's right? And out of the way of those arrows anyway? Or those bolts that were talking crossbows?
Maybe, but I don't think that they want to kill Liria.
No. Maybe they don't want to, but...
Yeah, but they're rather less specific about kneecaps.
True.
She would run less.
She would no longer be an adventurer.
Speaking of running, that's what they did next.
A lot of it.
fair lot of it.
Especially since he left one of the soldiers alive, so the guy turned around and shot a flare.
Yeah. And boy, I wonder if they made it obvious enough that Liria runs like a girl. I don't know. We should have a runoff between her and the Fabulous Titan from episode 1 of Attack on Titan. Make it my way downtown.
It's not episode 1, but...
Oh, it's not episode 1? Oh. It's early in the series, though, isn't it?
It's after their training.
Jesus! It's been forever.
You fucked it up.
Yes,
You fucked it up.
Fuck!
But yeah, seriously, like, they made her run so much like a girl.
And that's horrible because it's not really how...
By the way, I've never seen a woman run like that.
Yeah.
Also, in the opening, you see a guy holding what looks like a blunderbuss or arquebus or some old world firearm, running like this, carrying one hand. Who the hell runs like that with a long gun?
Your running sucks, the series. You'd really run with it like that instead of more at the ready?
Well, I guess if it's a blunderbuss or arquebus, there's not much of a at the ready unless you're like ready to go and your powder's hot somehow. But
true.
I don't like running like this.
Fair enough.
I like running like this.
Okay. More Bob will do that.
Your
with a
running
sword.
sucks, the series. I feel like I'm just making fun of you this entire episode.
At least, oh wait, no, never mind. Catalina totally does
Totally
the Naruto run.
does Naruto run.
Damn it! I was hoping we'd avoid that one too, but here we go. Bring in all the bad running.
Your running
cliches.
sucks, the series.
Oh boy!
Let
But
us
they do
catch our
do
breath here.
as they do
God.
underneath a log. I mean, they only ran 50 feet. They must be safe.
But yeah, we get to see we see Catalina notices the flare and starts running in that direction. At the same time, the Gran and Liria are running in a different direction and get found by a couple more troops.
More than a couple. They got found by a lot of troops.
Yeah.
And then Catalina shows up, dispatches with most of them, and then decided to use freezing magic on the other two's legs. Once again, leaving witnesses, I might add. But so that they can run away.
Insert let it go here.
And then more running.
Catalina has joined your party.
Pretty much.
More running and a little bit of dialogue go with it.
They see they're wondering the Noob Town and everything for Mook's to kill. They gotta grind.
At Noob Island.
Noob Island.
Then they're found by Captain...
No, actually.
Snidely Whiplash.
Remember, they run into the group that was threatening the villager?
Oh yeah, I forgot about
Right.
that.
And of course, naturally, Gran and Catalina both.
Yeah,
stand up
basically,
and turn left.
it's a moment that shows Catalina that Gran is not useless.
It shows Gran that Gran is not useless to Catalina. It also shows how the depths the Empire are willing to go to get what they want.
By the way, that was very stupid because they're basically ordering this guy to help them search. So basically, they want an extra pair of eyes to help them search.
And they're
But they're going to kidnap his daughter and leave his daughter with two of them.
hard
So
to
they're going to
minds.
get one set of eyes in exchange for two.
Yeah, and they're gonna piss off one set of eyes because he tells them, fuck off, go to hell, instead of getting cooperation. Hearts and minds, people, come on. You got one guy pissed off, and then that would in turn piss off the whole village if word got out.
But my favorite part of that scene is the battle damage.
Ouch. Goddamn,
Just the
Gran
last
works
one.
out.
Actually, that's something I wanted to talk about for basically this series in a nutshell. I actually don't like most of the battle damage that they do because it kind of looks like they just slash at their armor and then they fall down.
Yeah, let's get to through the recap first.
At least that one, it was
Yeah.
gnarly looking.
That was gnarly looking.
That's a proper battle damage.
So
That's straight out of Berserk almost.
Then they end up running into Captain Snidely Whiplash. And he pulls out another control stone so that Liria can't do whatever Liria is going to do.
It's one of those things like universal remotes. Just pay like $10-$15 at a local Magic hardware store and you got them.
Universal remote's an exotic shotgun. Shut the hell up.
It's in the box.
But yeah, and then Mr. Wiley here summons up a Hydra, and
5 heads and all. Very impressive looking Hydra, man.
Spoiler alert: kills Gran.
Kills.
Death
is cheap.
I don't know what number of the rules of anime this would be, but I think it must be in the top 10. Of course, Grant comes back to life.
He's the main character after all.
Exactly.
I've only ever seen it one time where like the main character doesn't come back. That was Kamina. That's at the end of the series.
Before the series ends.
Yeah,
okay.
that doesn't matter. It's at the end of the series.
Yeah, at the end of the series, that's a grand
all
finale.
bets are off.
Grand finale.
All bets are off.
Okay.
Everybody can die.
That is true. Kamina does die before.
Kamina dies well before the end.
Right.
Spoiler alert.
Yoko, you only kiss once.
If you haven't seen it already.
Otaku Saga is one big spoiler alert. Come on, you know the rules. Well,
But yeah.
actually, you don't. We haven't written them yet.
So Gran gets struck by Hydra Dragon.
Ouchie.
And then Liria runs over and does this like Vulcan mind meld with him.
And of course, they're floating in some like pool, but not really.
Very classic internal monologue or internal dialogue.
Heaven, hell,
And
whatever.
basically, she's going to lend him her powers, I think. Something of that nature.
Some explanation about these powers would be nice.
That would be nice.
It would be nice, but this is the first episode. So
I have a feeling they're going to go more into depth about that the more we learn about Liria.
However, she is forgetting that Snidely Whiplash has a universal control stone.
Press the mute button on that junk.
Right?
But
Not that it matters. Press it too late.
Yep, Gran comes back to life anyway.
Yep.
And summons fucking Bahamut.
That is bullshit. Imagine playing Doom, and you start off with the BFG 9000. Case fucking close. Or you start off with the Unmaker. To go even more extreme.
I'm guessing that there's going to be some major downside.
Because Bahamut does show up restrained, like his arms are restrained.
Arms are
and face.
restrained, and there's a muzzle on him.
Yep.
Well, apparently that's all they fucking needed, though.
But that's basically the end of the episode.
Yeah.
And now all the little bits. So, animation was a big thing for us in this, I think.
Animation was like we actually had to.
It's very interesting animation.
We had to stop and think about it for a good while.
And really discuss it because it's in a very interesting place quality-wise.
Yeah.
The backgrounds are really, really crisp, like you get with a top-tier anime.
Well, if you're
from
standard
these
like,
days.
Yeah, especially a good A1 work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Characters themselves, I think, are very well designed and very well drawn.
However, when they're animated on the background, you put it very well. They kind of look like stickers.
They kind of look like that stereotypical stuck to the screen visual novels where you have the character on one side, you have another character maybe on another side, and then you have the little bar, the little dialogue bar.
Yeah, there's enough of a discrepancy in either the styling or the quality, or probably a small mixture of both, between character and background, and between whether a character is more in focus and static than not in focus and dynamic, that it's really hard to place a finger on the quality of the animation because it goes in so many different directions at once, it seems.
Yeah, it is really, really weird. I'm not exactly sure what they're doing.
I don't mind it, truth be told. When it's a little rough, it does remind me still of Hydra Grimson no Grimgar, which I loved.
How many times are you going to fuck up that title?
Because
you said it and fucked it up, and then you repeated yourself.
That's all, folks.
Hydra Grimgar.
Yume's Ass,
that
the
one.
anime. Yeah, that one.
Yeah, with that one, it worked because the characters were of one style and the backgrounds were of basically the same style.
Yeah. There isn't really a whole lot of consistent quality.
Whereas
of here.
This one, it almost feels like the characters are very similar to that, but the backgrounds are more similar to like Sword Art Online.
Try again.
Actually, I was thinking like you take the characters from Sword Art Online, and you put them on the backgrounds from Trigun.
I absolutely disagree. The characters from Sword Art Online are really crisp. Like really crisp, and that new kind of generic anime style, which these ones I don't feel are.
Well, I think that the characters themselves are crisp. They're just in a different style.
Well, they are crisp, and they definitely have their moments, but they're not all the time. They have a tendency to kind of go back to that slightly rougher style when they're in motion.
Yeah, I actually feel that the characters look like an older animation style, whereas the backgrounds look like a newer animation style.
I don't know.
And again, I think sometimes that switches depending on the scene, seemingly. So.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's just
it's not bad at all, but it's different.
Yeah, it's
I just know
different.
that like they have more prominent outlines than Trigun does, at least from what I think.
Yeah, it's kind of just the way that they're animated, though. For me, it's not necessarily the outlines or anything like that.
Or maybe not how they're animated, but how they look. I guess while they're in motion, perhaps.
But you really had to stop and look at a scene to actually get the grasp of what's going on, because like we went back and we stopped and just paused and looked at a couple scenes, and you really can tell like the background doesn't have really thick outlines. The outlines are really nicely blended into the rest of the color and stuff like that, but the characters and the background themselves are really good drawn, really crisp, nice. The characters, I think, also really good, clean, nice, but they're really thick outlines. Like you could probably take any one of these screens, pause, and probably just cut out literally the characters.
I really didn't feel that the outlines were that thick, though. Like, I mean, it's not like
no, you want like Assassination Classroom.
Yeah, it's not like an Assassination Classroom or a Keijo, which are both done in the same style with really thick outlines.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, there's a difference between the outlines of the characters versus the outlines of the background.
Yeah.
Probably intentionally to make a character stand out more.
I don't know. But it's really interesting.
It's almost like the backgrounds were done on a computer and the characters were all hand-drawn.
So not only will possibly different qualities, be that intentional or otherwise, but different mediums for animation.
I don't know. Whatever it is, I'm thoroughly interested.
It's definitely sparking conversation. That is for sure. And well, truth be told, this could potentially this animation quality debate could be quite polarizing. Some could see it as a nice, bold, artistic direction. Some could see it as just like a couple of lousy animators teamed up with some good ones.
Yeah.
Which, well, let's be honest. If you look through A1's filmography, it's not all sunshines, rainbows, and Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso. Tokukiyoshi. Saga shit that was.
But my view on it, animation on both backgrounds and characters looked fantastic. There's just this interesting disconnect between the two.
It's like Keanu Reeves. Not the best looking thing out there, but there's something about him. Just some unexplained X factor. And you're welcome for the weird ass analogy.
What the actual fuck are you talking about?
Alright, I remember this story I kind of like read about Keanu Reeves in his early acting career. It was sort of a small bit part before Bill and Ted. And the casting director rejected him 3 times, but called him back for a 4th time. And he just didn't know why the hell he was calling him back at all. But he just had to cast him. And boom. Whoa.
Oh, God. Anyway,
I can't.
I do want to talk about the action scenes and the battle damage and everything. So the battle damage to me, there was one moment when it was really, really good.
And one moment where it was really, really bad.
Actually, the rest of the moments I felt were substandard.
Were they as bad as me just breaking you with a weird-ass analogy?
Well,
my brain hurts now.
So does mine. The first battle with Gran was bad. That was really bad.
I think it's... For me, I think the fact that they've made a decision not to have blood unless absolutely necessary. So we get these moments where Gran and Catalina should be killing these guys, but there's absolutely no blood. I don't have a problem with there not being blood on their swords. That's actually kind of par for the course for anime.
But maybe
I have an issue with them not spurting blood or something like that.
Yeah.
It literally looks like they scratched their armor. Like all they need to do is buff it out and they're fine.
I have a problem believing that they're harmed in any way.
Exactly.
Because these guys are wearing full plate armor.
Well, more like half plate with scale, I think.
But this area
They're wearing armor.
They're wearing armor.
Very well protected midsection.
You're not gonna cut through that. I don't care who you are. You better be like Superman.
Yeah, no.
To cut through that.
No, you're going to be aiming for gaps in the armor, no matter what kind of sword you're using, really.
Yeah.
In that kind of combat.
In the battle with Catalina, where they went up against the group, I think it was the group with the villager. We actually see her, stab somebody, and then cut somebody's throat through the gap of his helmet.
Yeah, she also uses a rapier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then we see
Gran
basically use his. I'm not even sure what the fuck his sword is.
It's called like a long sword.
It's almost like
not a long sword.
It's almost like a bastard sword, but short.
Short bastard.
Like really short. It's really thick or really wide, I should say. But it's only that long.
It reminds me a lot of a Viking sword or a five-finger sword. I think it's Spanish or a Scottish.
You're talking about the Italian sword, right?
I think so. I don't know. It's literally that wide, and it comes up to a point. That's the design.
Yeah, I think it's an Italian sword, like the Quinzin de something or other.
Yeah.
Something Italian. It basically means 5 fingers.
Yeah. But they're usually really ornate, and for some strange reason, they weren't really useful. They're still blades, they're still swords, but they're more for decoration and stuff.
I watched. I don't know if you saw the episode. It was one that Lindy Beige did.
Yes.
It was like a sword that Florentian nobles used because they were short, so they could be easily drawn in crowds. But because nobles were using them, they were also really ornate and usually pieces of shit.
Yeah.
But it does kind of remind me of that, where it's got a really wide blade and it's not very long. And honestly, it's really just best for stabbing.
And it's not a long sword.
It's definitely not a long sword.
Long sword, broadsword.
Not even anywhere near it.
Okay, so you can't see it because it's on the opposite wall. But Zero has a long... Is that a long sword?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, Zero has a long sword sitting against the wall. It's about half that length.
Yeah. And the handle of that sword
is more like a really long dagger or a really short sword.
Yes. The handle for that one is meant to have 2 hands. It's a hand and a half, but you can really put 2 hands on it. This sword, it's literally a hand and a half, because you can only put in
and a couple fingers maybe on the pommel, but
It's really a one-handed sword.
It's really a one-handed sword. So.
But yeah, most of his attacks probably wouldn't do anything. Is what we're getting at. Because he does all slashing attacks.
On well-armored sections of the armor.
Except for that one helmet hit, which somehow he turned his sword into a club.
That was brutal.
I can't get a scope of how thick that blade is.
Because when that guy fell down and his helmet was crumpled all the way down here, by the way, there would be a lot of blood spilling out. Blood and, brain matter. And
brain matter,
like
his
that.
eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
A little bit too clean for me, but...
Nope.
Caved down even deeper, yeah.
Yeah, it was like down to his nose. And, but when you looked at it, the actual, like entry point for whatever weapon he used was like that.
That I don't mind as much because metal tends to crumple.
Yeah, but down at the bottom, if he used the sword, it would still be down to more of a point.
Yeah. You may see that if the tip is blunted.
As I'm about to say, that was kind of the tactic of the day, right? Was for blunted.
No.
That's right. The bash armor.
No. That is a hugely bad misconception. Swords are sharp. All swords are sharp.
Right. More.
Sort of.
More damage.
They're sharp enough that they can slash when you hit with enough force, but they're not like knives.
Yeah, they're not like sharpened to a very fine edge, because otherwise
they would be ruined.
Yeah. But a sword that went against a piece of armor, it would
Still
impact. It would leave an impact almost as if you folded up a piece of paper, creased it over, and then left it open. It would still have a very sharp groove to it. That's not what you saw.
Yeah, that was like,
a club.
Or an axe. Oh yeah, club.
It almost looked like he transformed his sword into a bar of iron, like just a plain bar of iron.
Yeah, because
like a square bar.
That was
of iron.
definitely U-shaped.
Almost square. I don't know. It was very weird. But it's battle damage, and that's all that really matters.
And it did look really awesome.
It did look
awesome. It looked straight out of fucking Berserk. Awesome, brutal, and it's like, oh, where was this? The first fight? Holy shit!
Right.
Because the first fight, you didn't see any of that. And the other part of battle damage, the only other part of battle damage that we did get was the cut that Gran sustained.
The gouging?
That was from here to here.
Yeah,
how here to here.
How he kept the halves of his torso intact is beyond me.
I don't have a problem with that. I think his intestines, his internal organs,
everything will be
out.
Everything will be flying.
Yeah, I'm surprised the next scene wasn't Hydra just, kind of picking his nails clean of intestines.
Right.
Tastes like chicken.
But yeah, it just at first it kind
Chitlins.
of threw me off because they decided to use so much blood there, even though they clearly went for no blood at all in the series before that.
Yeah,
Consistency
it's
is
so
nice.
Weird.
I mean, if they're gonna use that much blood there, then they might as well have at least a little come out when they attack the men.
Maybe they didn't have a whole lot of a blood budget.
They did have the blood.
Maybe they only bought one bottle of fake blood.
Yeah.
They did have the blood where Catalina just cut the guy's throat. There was a little bit of blood spurt.
Was there? I didn't recall it.
I have
Small
no
enough. He did that in CGI.
Yeah, I have no problem you going back and proving me wrong, but I'm fairly certain that there was. But other than that, yeah, there was like very, very little blood and everywhere. So.
Yeah, I honestly didn't see any blood at all.
Also, that form-fitting armor, though.
Right? Because that's totally true.
Nope.
There wasn't?
There wasn't any blood. It was just like
a bluish white sword flash, and then they fall down.
It was like almost the sparks coming off of the armor, really.
And she totally aimed for the gut on the first.
Or actually, it kind of looks like what do you call it? Like a shockwave on the wind.
I don't know. I could have sworn I saw red.
I really don't. Maybe we could watch it over again.
That form-fitting armor, though. Wow.
Yeah, right?
Catalina. Yeah, I really don't see any red whatsoever there.
Well, there you go.
Let me take it frame by frame just so that we're sure.
Yeah, just a white flash going off.
Okay. Okay.
There you go.
I see where I got the problem.
Huh.
There's actually a circle of white flash.
Ah.
It's not...
So the little negative space there you thought was blood?
I thought it was blood.
Because it was darker.
Because it was darker.
Okay.
But for
retarded.
a series to go out of its way to have no blood...
Until the main hero gets it from a Hydra.
Yeah, that's just weird.
Yeah, again, consistency is nice.
Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this up because we've been rambling for a while.
Yes, we have. I mean, again, the art style does spark a lot of conversation and will be quite divisive amongst you peoples. Keep it clean in the comments, people.
Clean.
Unlike some of the animation.
I'm interested in watching more.
The sword definitely seems.
Wow, this take has taken us an hour and 22 minutes.
Oh my god. We spent more on the podcast than this.
More on this than
this
the podcast. Strike that, reverse it.
Reverse it.
I'm interested in seeing more, but there are some definite issues that I have so far.
Yeah. But, despite those issues, this does seem like a decent fantasy anime.
Yeah.
It's definitely...
I am interested in continuing.
It's starting off very cliche, but there are quite a lot of breadcrumbs to break that cliche.
And I'm going to be honest, I'm interested because this makes excellent riff fodder.
Oh, so...
Grade A USDA approved, my friends. As you'll see in the reaction if you haven't started watching it already.
It's stereotypical RPG. I mean, it's so easy. If you can't see where it's going, you haven't played it.
Pretty much, yeah. But let us know what you thought of the anime, what you thought of our reaction in the comment section below.
Yep, thumbs up if you like it, thumbs down if you don't.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Anime Reaction. As always, I'm DK.
I'm Zero.
And I'm Rizzo.
See you next time.
Go ahead and click on my face to go to our most recent Otaku Saga talk.
Click on my face to go to Otaku Saga Gaming, our gaming channel.
And click on the website to subscribe to Otaku Saga and check out our new and improved Patreon page.